Okay, it's going through here. Folks, tell me if you see anything. Okay, I think that is it here. Folks, so we are live with the second segment of Quantum Leap, and um, we're my name's David Kirsten. I'm a co-host. We're excited to welcome our surprise guest, Lawrence McKendall, who's been on the show before, but he's really one of the leading graphic designers in the East Bay. I mean, there's a lot of different kind of folks out here who do design, but I think for small business, maybe I just like his style. Some of the best because he's done some of my logos and they're incredible. We still use them. But I first wanted to just introduce my co-host, Cory and I. And Cory, if you don't mind just telling us intro to you and just how you know Lawrence as well.
Well, I am Cory Knott, and I am co-owner of Take Wing Coaching and focused specifically on coaching business partnerships. And I don't think I know Lawrence at all. Oh, yes, I've known Lawrence for many years through BNI, of course, and we are in the same chapter and have collaborated on a few things and now interested in roller coastering together. But he seems to have more time for that than I do, unfortunately. And
Yeah,
maybe
didn't he do
stronger
that
stomach.
Zoom background?
What's
Didn't
that?
he did that Zoom background or didn't
Oh
he do
yes, he did this background that I am using quite extensively, and yeah.
and the logo or just the background?
Well, he did not do the logo, but he put the logo in the background. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. No, I love the
short part. Yeah.
yeah.
I reorganized his office too.
Yeah, well,
No
very
bird.
good. I'm gonna not leave you hanging, Lawrence, with us try to describe your story for you, but we're gonna just turn it over to you to tell us who you are and what you do.
Gentlemen, thank you for the introduction. It's always a pleasure to see you guys. Um, and it's been a pleasure to work with you guys as well. I'm a graphic designer. I've been at it for 25 years. And how I got to it, sales and marketing has been my background. And I used to work for Bose. It's a corporation that sells speakers. Maybe more people know. In its day, it was Cube speakers that gave its big escalation and popularity. But now headphones is probably people know Bose by. Anyway, what was very interesting is when I was selling their speakers, people would come to these events that we put on, and the marketing that Bose put on, people would come already emotionally attached to the product. And they were beautiful ads, high-level ads, but it was very interesting how these ads could gravitate and create a customer base, and a very loyal customer base. And it's very interesting is that it reinforced how much I like the speakers because they put these speakers in a lifestyle setting. You're like, wow, I could see these being part of my life. And it was like, wow, I love what they did. And it really gravitated to me to, go to art school and see how I could get that skill.
Yeah, great. That's a great example of a successful brand and the match between kind of like the visual, but also the actual, when you think of that Bose advertising, I just love that clean base you get out of those. And it's really industry standard stuff, what they've done with their marketing. Yeah. But a lot of that's the product, and you have such kind of a mind for both of those things. And one thing I also appreciate is your range. How I like the modern stuff, like the ripple effect, but some of it has like that vintage feel. Like look at your plastic and iron back there. You do some really, I don't know if you just already have kind of a wild card question as you're getting set up to show some of your designs. If you don't mind, just tell us here a little bit about your philosophy towards design in terms of like the modern or the vintage and kind of just your influences in design.
Well,
And
that's a
you
great
can take us through
question.
some of your stuff. Yeah.
Well, sure. I can go to screen share it as we go. It really depends on the conversation. A lot of times the conversation, the logos that I came up with were based on my conversations with you, what you were looking for, what you were vibing with. Sometimes I'll go through a lot of what I call sort of a popcorn portfolio of a variety of things. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. Good deal. But it really did take some of the conversation with the client, and that sort of gleans. There are things that I lean towards. I love script fonts because they evoke an emotion. I think you'll see a through line with a lot of my work, but it really depends on the nature of the beast and who I'm representing with design. When I go through sort of these items to look over with, you'll if you have a random question, like, let's clarify this, because I'll just sort of be going through. If you want to reach out to me and figure out, how I got there a little bit more in depth. But I thought there's some fun things. As a graphic designer, there's a lot of things that are kind of fun to do. A lot of people don't know and take for granted. And some of these things I wanted to start out with a couple of Photoshop solutions that I get to, which are always fun. One of my clients was Marvette Hill. She was rebranding, and we'll get to the before and afters a little later. But she had as a graphic designer, you get photographs, and what you need to do is prep a photograph is take some of the hot spots away that really detract from the image, so you can see before and after that the hot spots go away. Then you need to extend the card. I needed to extend the image out for a business card, and it dropped into the business card, added a background. I love colors that match the environment. And I'm going to get to your question, David, so stay tuned with that.
Yeah, no rush.
And so, coming with Marvette went from a very, very, very ugly, very staid text. It was very dry, was not emotionally evoking, and represented her personality. And so we put together a nice business card. And so as a designer, one of the elements you do before you even get into the logo is, what's the color palette? What is the background going to look like? And that's going to complement a lot of elements that are going to happen with the text. Another Photoshop fun thing that I did, that might be, you get a picture that's sort of, you get a gruff looking picture and a smiling picture, and the guy's like, is there any way that you can, it'd be great if one head was on the other. I'm like, well, stay tuned, I can do that. So essentially what I did is I cut the picture out of one, added to the other. So the smiling face is now on his card. Now, if you look at this particular cleaner, he's got I did not do the logo, but he's got a nice flowy font to go with the wave, but you have very easy to read text for the business logo. So he needed to redo all his contact information. So added an image and did different things for that. But let's get to rebranding. Let's talk about exactly what you're talking about, which I thought was good. Courtney Miller, he's an architect. I work with architects, interior designers. And so he came to me going, I don't have a brand. Can you do something? And so, dictating on what you get, I thought it was a perfect question that David posed. How do I offer what's going on with EcoBuild? I wanted to offer an architectural font that was very, very, very subtle. Courtney has a very subtle approach. He is an award-winning designer, and I gave things that were very architectural font-wise and feel. I also added some architectural elements in the background. I worked on the arc. I worked on architect. Then I thought, okay, let me give something that was aesthetically pleasing, but had a footprint that if you wanted to put it on a stamp and put it on plans, it would come out more. So I gave him a more a stylized sans serif font, and I messed with it a little bit to really make it even more contemporary. And he said ultimately what he went for this. He went for a more flowy throwback font. And so I said, this is great and all, but I love to add another level of depth and a visual element that people can really appreciate. And I added a mask. And what I did is I came and looked for a leaf and a mask. I'll show you what I did is actually puts this particular picture behind the font. And for most people, you look at it going, it's a leaf with water, so what? But when you add it in the context of a logo, it actually makes the logo pop. Lights and darks, the water beads really make this font or this logo even more dynamic. And he's gotten some nice compliments to it. We put it on a business card and off we go. And that's for a branding assignment. So we can jump in. Any questions, gentlemen?
No, that's fabulous. I love that. When it's funny, before you even mentioned Courtney, I was thinking about how much I like his cards, and then you brought him up. So he was on the show a few weeks ago too. So
He's a terrific guy, very, very talented architect. And then we get into some before and afters when I get clients that come in. We'll start with Marvette. Marvette is a travel agent, but she also dabbles in Mary Kay. She's like, look at this card, it's not vibing. I'm like, you're right, it needs some help. And so the card I put together earlier, you can see how vibrant. Starts with some nice photography, nice logo, and this is a font logo. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is a law firm, and I'm going to show you David Kirsten's Wide Angle Media. We start getting into an actual icon. So right now I have a law firm. I work with law firms that maybe they have a new partnership. Maybe somebody's going to step out on their own. And in this particular case, it was a law firm that's been expanding. And their graphic designers, sometimes graphic designers go away. Sometimes graphic designers, their hard drives melt, and they all of a sudden they don't have any of the files. And so they turned to me and said, hey, we can't find our graphic designer and our logo needs to be refreshed and it's all low resolution. Can you help out? I'm like, absolutely. So we started doing different permutations. They wanted to stay in the same sort of look and feel of a mandala, but we were looking for more contemporary mandalas. I did not draw this. I found one. I looked at extensive look at different shapes and sizes, and we work with the coloration. We're able to change the colors of different things. Look for a particular font that worked well when you have it got very crowded, as you can see, but you wanted something that's easily read. And at the end of the day, you can see the before and after of what we settled with. And there you go. And onto a business card. Cleaner, more white space, easier to read. And so we got David Kirsten. David Kirsten comes to me, very talented videographer and photographer, and he says, hey, look, I need some help. And, there's a phrase in any design, less is more. And I think it has everything on there except he cuts hair on Tuesdays. So this is a man who does everything. But we really wanted to clean it up. And David said, we worked, and he says, I like this font, this particular logo I had in the hopper, and I like it. We added an eyeball to it into the lens, cleaned up the lens. It actually says his name on the outside of the lens, which is really cool. Mock bracket to sort of make, really emphasis was on the eye and the lens. And then what we did was I created a bow with to emphasize wide angle, and off we go. And then we worked on the back of the card, and the back of the card was cleaner, really focused on what he did, and people could see, they could glean exactly what he did. And later I'll show you when actually I didn't, I was going to show you the ripple effect. I did not include that one. I love that logo. So Freeman Insurance, same situation, a lot of help. This is their first card. And my job was, they were starting to move online more, and made a much cleaner logo, easy to look. Worked in the same color palette that they had, but upped the look and feel of it. And you actually went to the back. And so now you've got a nice, cool card. Their business has increased with it. A lot of credibility comes with it. People don't have to guess what you do. Now, right now, let's see, we got that. Really, that's the gist of everything. Let me see, did I miss anything? No, I thought I was going to have more, but I could get some more, but for the most part,
No, that's perfect. I love how you started with the cards, because I feel like this is something that's basically cards and logos and look is indispensable for small business owners. If you don't have that as a small business and kind of a professional network, you got to see Lawrence, because it really makes just more difference than you can even understand until you get it done. It did for me anyway. Yeah.
absolutely. And I just let me just follow up with one last thing with it here is, it starts with a conversation. A lot of people don't know what a graphic designer does, or they usually know that there's pain points around them that they need to figure out. I need to refresh my card. I need to refresh my website. I need to refresh my logo. I need to get a flyer, or I've got a pop-up banner that needs to be created. Some people can do it on their own. Others, they need some help. They need some guidance, and we can have a conversation to see if you'd like to work with me. And there's the San Francisco Bay Area has got a lot of amazing graphic designers, and I do believe I'm good. I'm an award winner, but that said, there's so many different interesting approaches and styles, and I always love to give attaboys to designers going, this is brilliant. I love what you've done with your work. I like your style, and that's just sort of keeps designers on their toes going, wow, this is great. I didn't know you could go there. Now I can go there. Other people come in and they see my work. Wow, I didn't know you could do X, Y, Z. I'm like, yeah, it's cool stuff. It's really not, I really appreciate you like it. But it starts with the conversation. And it's not a hard sell. And my ideal clients, solopreneurs, law, education, healthcare, work with nonprofits, work with annual reports. And there you go.
Yeah, very good. Just a little time check here. We got about 9 minutes. So I'm gonna hand it over to Cory here in a second. I just want to make one comment that, I've had this for about, I think, 3 or 4 years now, and I don't even have a need to refresh it or anything when you get it done right, and you actually kind of appreciate it even more over time. And of course, we all go through a rebrand. Maybe if you go to a bigger business from being a solopreneur, you want them to refresh it. But if you're a solopreneur, you kind of plan to be for at least a bit. It really is kind of a timeless design, and it's something that's special that he can provide for you. It's not just something that you go online and somebody opens up a can of a design they did last week for another person and they adapt it. So, but I want to just hand it over to Cory for his questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get myself unmuted there. All right, Lawrence. Well, what I always get to ask is, why do you continue doing this? What gets you out of bed in the morning and said, I just love doing graphic design and all the changes in the business world and everything going on. And it's always curious. That's what we like to know on this show.
That's a great question. It's a $64,000 question. It starts with people. There's people that come up and they've got this idea, they've got this, and it's the people that really get you out of bed to go, wow, they like the work, they like the style, and they want to go. Let's get some branding going. I'm excited. There's a lot of people with new side hustles coming in, and they're like, they want to put a really good stamp on it. And those are the things that get me out of bed. Absolutely.
All right, cool. Hang on, my sheet their business. So how has BNI helped your business?
Well,
Talk a lot about
BNI, it's interesting. BNI helps me on a number of facets. A lot of people come in because they hear, when I join, I'm going to get referrals. And for some people, it can be immediate. Sometimes it can take a long time. But while those referrals are coming, I mean, it's almost like the popcorn. You'll get a pop now and then. All of a sudden, in a year or a couple of years, you've got popcorns all over the place with great referrals. You never know who's going to come to the door that's going to change your life. I mean, there's people that come to the door that might change your life immediately with your wallet. They may change your life with knowledge that can help you personally or with your business. It can change your life on a number of ways that how you approach anything. There's so many different views, and it's a supportive environment too. And there's a lot of things that I've learned from BNI that have elevated my life personally, as well as just well as business wise. So yeah, that's why I continue to go. It's a great group of people.
They still like us. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I still like you. Yeah, not you so much, but the other guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. That David guy.
And so who is an ideal client for you?
So, right now, my ideal clients are nonprofit foundations. They tend to have a bigger budget. They tend to do annual reports and big media stuff. Love to do that. Law, health, health practitioners, anybody in the healthcare space. There's solopreneurs doing different side hustles, and a sort of a passion project would be great to get together, talk with a small winery that would love to have an art director to come out with their wine labels. That would be great. But those are some of the but it's not limited to those. But those are my ideal clients I just mentioned.
Cool. Well, I don't really have any follow-up questions. Do you, David?
No, I think that about covers it. And I always say if we do these interviews right, we always end about 5 minutes early. So,
I love that.
you
That's
know,
a
it's
good
kind of
saying.
like cutting out the fat kind of thing, you know what I mean? So, um,
I gotta use that one. I like that one.
it means you speak succinctly and directly. So, well done. We'll put the links to your work, and we'll definitely keep in touch as you um get some new designs. We'd love to bring you back here even in the fall or early next year or somewhere in there when people are looking at that rebrand, you know, for the new year kind of thing. So
Absolutely. Thank you, David. I appreciate you. Congratulations on your success uh, with Quantum Leap. And Cory, looking forward to see you on the big dip of a roller coaster soon.
Yeah. One thing I may need to do is figure out how to add a TM to my logo here. So
That's easy to do. That's
I
not a problem.
you guys are going to the
trademark Take
boardwalk?
Wing. So what's that?
You're going to the boardwalk?
Ooh, I never even thought about that. Are there any good roller coasters there? They used to have the big old.
There's one. We got to go to
Yeah.
Magic Mountain, but that's like
We just went to I took Carrie to the park up here, yeah, but
Yeah.
we'll talk more about that. I'll
Discovery
wrap up
Kingdom.
this show so we don't have any hot mic moments here, but
I think
thanks for
oh,
joining us,
we're
everyone.
still online. All
Bye. We'll see you
Bye,
next
guys.
week for the last episode of Quantum Leap this season.
right.
Thanks,
Thanks.
gentlemen. Take
Bye.
care.